In the shadows of a world hidden from view, where the line between human and supernatural blurs, emerges a tale of two unlikely heroes. Welcome to the extraordinary saga of Lucas and Elara, werewolves bound not just by their shared nature, but by a relentless quest for justice. Every episode unravels a new chapter in their ongoing battle against the corrupt and the cruel. From the depths of the occult to the heights of corporate towers, they move in silence, striking where least expected. Their mission: to save the innocent and expose the malevolent. Armed with their wits, supernatural abilities, and a bond unbroken by adversity, they face adversaries both human and beyond. In a world where the prey can turn predator and the hunter becomes the hunted, Lucas and Elara navigate the grey areas of morality, justice, and loyalty. Join us as we delve into the heart of darkness, where danger lurks in every corner and courage is the only light. This is not just a journey through the night, it's a quest to bring balance to a world veiled in secrecy and rife with hidden threats. Get ready to enter a realm where myths come alive and heroes are born under the light of the moon. This is the world of Lucas and Elara. This is Lunar Shadows, the chronicles of Lucas and Elara. Chapter 1. Infiltrating the shadows. In the dense whispering forests that skirted the edges of civilization, a hidden community thrived in isolation. Unknown to most, this secluded haven had fallen under the sway of a cult, worshipping an entity they called the Devourer. It was said to be a being of immense power, one that fed on supernatural creatures like vampires and werewolves. Lucas and Elara, after hearing rumors of this cult and the oppressed people within its grasp, made their way towards this cloistered settlement. Their mission was clear: infiltrate the cult, understand its workings, and ultimately dismantle it to free the community. The cult, known as the Order of the Eclipse, had woven itself deeply into the fabric of the forest community. They preached of an imminent summoning, a night when the Devourer would rise and cleanse the world of supernatural beings. Disguised as wanderers seeking refuge, Lucas and Elara approached the community. The air was thick with a sense of foreboding, and the eyes that met them were wary, yet weary. They were led to the heart of the village, where the cult's enigmatic leader, High Priest Oran, presided. Oran was a charismatic figure, his words laced with an unsettling blend of warmth and fanaticism. To gain entry into the order, Lucas and Elara were told they must partake in the ritual of binding, a ceremony said to align their souls with the Devourer. It was a test of loyalty and faith, one they had to pass to infiltrate the inner sanctum of the cult. As the night of the ritual approached, Lucas and Elara prepared themselves. They knew the dangers of what they were about to do, but their resolve was firm. Under the moonlit sky, they joined the other initiates in a clearing, encircled by ancient stones, etched with forgotten runes. High Priest Oran commenced the ritual, chanting in a language that seemed to twist the very air. The initiates were each given a chalice, filled with a brew that Oran claimed would bind them to the Devourer. Lucas and Elara exchanged a glance, an unspoken agreement passing between them, before drinking the concoction. As the ritual reached its zenith, a strange energy pulsed through the clearing. Lucas and Elara felt a shiver run down their spines, a sense of something ancient and malevolent stirring in the shadows. They knew they had successfully infiltrated the Order, but the real challenge was yet to come. In the dead of night, as the rest of the initiates dispersed, Lucas and Elara stayed behind. hidden in the darkness. They had to uncover the truth behind the Devourer and the High Priest's real intentions. The fate of the community, and potentially all supernatural beings, rested in their hands. It's time for a quick scare break. As we linger in these shadowy realms, a small favour I dare to ask. If my tales of terror bring you thrills, do not let our journey end here. Hit like, subscribe, and join our dark congregation. Chapter 2. Captives in the Shadows. As Lucas and Elara moved discreetly around the camp, the grim reality of the Order's activities became increasingly evident. Tucked away in a secluded part of the village, they stumbled upon a hidden enclosure, a makeshift prison where supernatural beings were being held captive. The prisoners were a diverse and forlorn group, a pair of vampires, their once proud features now gaunt and weary, were chained with silver that burned their flesh and nullified their strength. A group of fey creatures, their wings clipped and magic suppressed by enchantments woven into their cages, sat in despondent silence. And in a corner, a lone siren, her voice silenced by a cursed collar, gazed longingly at the sky. These beings, powerful in their own right, were rendered helpless by the Order's meticulous planning. The cult had studied their weaknesses and exploited them, ensuring their captives could not use their abilities to escape or retaliate. Lucas and Elara realized the gravity of the situation. The summoning of the Devourer was scheduled for the next full moon, which was mere days away. They had to act fast if they were to dismantle the cult and save both the captives and themselves. In a moment of opportunity, Elara approached the captives. She spoke softly, assuring them that she and Lucas were there to help, but they would need the captives' assistance in return. Hesitant at first, the captives listened as Elara outlined a plan that would not only free them, but also prevent the summoning of the Devourer. The vampires, despite their weakened state, agreed to share their knowledge of the cult's inner workings. The Fae, their spirits lifting slightly, offered insights into the layout of the camp and the locations of key areas. The Siren, communicating through gestures, indicated she knew where the cult stored their enchanted items. As Lucas and Elara gathered this vital information, a sense of camaraderie began to form between them and the captives. They were all in this together, and their survival depended on mutual trust and cooperation. With the full moon looming, the stakes were higher than ever. Lucas and Elara needed to infiltrate deeper into the cult to understand how to stop the summoning. At the same time, they began to lay the groundwork for their escape plan, one that would free the captives and end the Order's reign of terror. The clock was ticking, and every moment counted as they prepared for the impending confrontation. Chapter 3. A close call. With only a day left before the full moon, tension simmered beneath the surface of the cult's camp. Lucas and Elara, while working diligently to maintain their facade, found themselves under increasing scrutiny. Their interactions with the captives had not gone unnoticed, particularly by one cult member, a man with piercing eyes and an air of suspicion named Marek. Marek's distrust of the newcomers was evident. He watched them with a hawkish gaze, his suspicion growing each time they neared the enclosure of the captives. In his eyes, Lucas and Elara were too inquisitive, too empathetic towards those the cult had deemed enemies. As the day waned, Marek confronted Lucas and Elara. In a secluded spot, away from prying ears, he challenged them, questioning their loyalty and their interest in the captives. Lucas, aware of their precarious position, had to think quickly. His human form offered little protection against the cult, so he relied solely on his wit and guile. With a calm demeanor, Lucas spun a tale. He claimed that they were gauging the strength and weaknesses of the captives, ensuring they posed no threat to the cult's plans. His words were laced with feigned admiration for the Order's cause, painting himself and Elara as devout followers, eager to see the summoning succeed. Marek, though not entirely convinced, found Lucas's explanation plausible. He warned them, however, to focus on the task at hand and avoid unnecessary contact with the captives. As he walked away, Lucas and Elara exchanged a look of relief, aware of how close they had come to being exposed. After the encounter, Lucas whispered to Elara, "We must be careful, especially around that one. He's dangerously perceptive." They knew that any further slip-ups could be catastrophic. Under the cover of night, Elara made her move. She slipped into the area where the cult stored their enchanted items. Using the knowledge they had gathered from the captives, she located a powerful artifact, a talisman that could disrupt the magical barriers confining the supernatural beings. Stealthily, Elara secured the talisman, concealing it away from prying eyes. Its acquisition was a critical step in their plan to free the captives and thwart the cult's summoning of the Devourer. With the full moon rapidly approaching, Lucas and Elara prepared for what could be their most dangerous night yet. The fate of many rested in their hands, and they could not afford to fail. Chapter 4. The Eve of Summoning. As dawn broke on the day of the summoning, an air of ominous expectancy hung over the cult's camp. The members of the Order of the Eclipse, numbering around 40, gathered in a clearing deep within the woods. A makeshift platform had been erected, and upon it stood the cult leader, High Priest Oran, his presence commanding and sinister. Oran addressed his followers with fervor, his voice echoing through the trees. "Tonight, under the full moon, we shall offer the ultimate sacrifice. The supernatural creatures we have captured will be offered to the Devourer. In return, he will grant us unparalleled power. Each of you shall be rewarded for your unwavering loyalty and devotion." The cult members, entranced by his words, began to chant a strange mantra, their voices melding into a haunting melody that resonated with the ancient energy of the forest. The ritualistic hum filled the air, creating an atmosphere charged with anticipation. After the gathering, Oran instructed the cult to rest and prepare for the night's momentous event. As the members dispersed, Lucas, seizing the opportunity, stealthily followed Oran. He needed to gather any last-minute information that could aid their plan to thwart the summoning. Lucas trailed Oran to a secluded spot where he met with Marek. Hidden from view, Lucas eavesdropped on their conversation, but what he heard chilled him to the bone. "When the Devourer is summoned, he will feast upon the power of the supernatural creatures," Oran confided to Marek. "But that's not all. The rest of our followers are mere pawns in our grand design. The Devourer will only grant true power to the most loyal among us. That is you and me, Marek." Lucas's heart raced as he processed the revelation. The cult leader's plan was far more sinister than they had imagined. Not only were the supernatural captives at risk, but the cult members themselves were unwittingly to be sacrificed. Lucas knew he had to act fast. He silently retreated, heading back to find Elara. They needed to accelerate their plans. The stakes were higher than ever, and they were running out of time. As the day progressed, the tension within the camp rose palpably. The evening summoning, under the light of the full moon, would be the climax of their mission, and Lucas and Elara were determined to stop Oran and Marek at all costs. The fate of many hung in the balance, and the night promised to be one of reckoning. Chapter 5. the moonlit reckoning. As night cloaked the forest in its dark embrace, Elara stealthily placed the enchanted item into the captive's enclosure. The two vampires, upon recognizing the talisman's power, exchanged a menacing grin. "Be ready," Elara whispered, a determined glint in her eye. Lucas and Elara, standing amidst the cult members, felt the primal beast within stir restlessly as the full moon began its ascent. The air was thick with anticipation and foreboding. High Priest Oran ascended the platform again, his voice resonating through the gathered crowd. "Tonight, you will all be reborn. The Devourer will take you as his children," Oran proclaimed. At his command, a group of cult members emerged, escorting the bound supernatural being towards the platform. Marek stood beside Oran, instruments of destruction in hand, ready to enact the grim ritual. It was at this moment that Lucas shouted, breaking the tense silence. "Wait, Oran and Marek have no intention of sharing power with you. After the sacrifice, you are all next." Chaos erupted. Marek, along with a contingent of burly cult members, charged through the crowd towards Lucas. "I knew there was something off about you," Marek snarled. "You are two against many." Lucas, with his familiar, unflinching smile, looked up at the moon. "Two giants among insects," he retorted. Beside him, Elara's form was already contorting, transforming into the powerful visage of the wolf. The cult members watched in horror and disbelief as Lucas also began to change. "Party time," he growled. In a desperate move, Oran turned to order the sacrifice's deaths. "The Devourer will feed on these two," he cried, but as he faced the captives, he found the vampires standing free and powerful beside him, their eyes alight with vengeance. They attacked Oran swiftly, taking him by surprise. The other creatures, empowered by the talisman, fought off Oran's personal guard. Panic spread through the cult, many fleeing into the night, leaving only Marek and a core group of hardened members. "We have dealt with your kind before," Marek boasted, drawing a silver sword. Unfortunately, they were not strong enough to last until the ceremony. A fierce battle ensued. Lucas, though wounded by the silver swords, fought on relentlessly. Elara, a whirlwind of teeth and claws, darted through the cultists with lethal grace. However, Lucas found himself cornered, the cultists' enchanted silver slicing through his flesh with ease. Marek laughed triumphantly. "Now you die." But just as Lucas faced his grim fate, a deafening, piercing sound reverberated through the clearing. The cultists fell to the ground, overwhelmed by the sonic assault. Standing with a satisfied smile was the siren, her cursed collar removed, her voice now a weapon of their salvation. "All yours," she declared. Lucas, fueled by the fury of the wolf, made short work of the stunned cultists. One by one, they fell until only Marek remained, his confidence faltering as he witnessed the tide of battle turn against him. The night air was filled with the sounds of the forest and the aftermath of their struggle. Lucas and Elara, standing amidst their fallen foes, knew that they had not only saved the captives, but also thwarted a dark ritual that threatened many. The Order of the Eclipse had been dismantled, and the forest would no longer echo with the chants of its misguided followers. The full moon shone down on them, a silent witness to their victory and the power of those who fight for justice, even in the face of overwhelming odds. Final chapter. Dawn of New Alliances. As the first light of dawn broke through the trees, painting the forest in hues of gold and pink, the liberated creatures gathered in the cave, a sanctuary from the events of the night. The vampires, shielded from the harmful rays of the sun, watched from the shadows, while Marek, now their prisoner, sat bound and defeated. The atmosphere in the cave was one of relief and newfound camaraderie. Each creature took a moment to express their gratitude to Lucas and Elara. They spoke of an unspoken pact, an alliance formed in the heat of battle, offering their assistance should Lucas and Elara ever find themselves in need. The siren, her voice now free to sing the songs of her people, spoke up. There's a corporation involved in the illegal trade of rare animals. But it's not just animals they deal in. They have a trophy, a supernatural creature. I was traded through this corporation before being handed over to the cult. Lucas and Elara exchanged a look of determination. This revelation struck a chord with them, a call to action. They agreed that this corporation would be their next challenge, their next battle in the war against those who exploited and oppressed beings, both human and supernatural. The vampires, with their menacing smiles, led Marek deeper into the cave. The fate that awaited him was unspoken, but understood by all. He had played a pivotal role in the atrocities committed by the cult, and justice, in whatever form it took, was inevitable. As the group disbanded, Lucas and Elara stepped out of the cave, facing the new day. The forest around them was peaceful, a stark contrast to the chaos of the night before. They knew their journey was far from over, but for now, they had made a difference. They had freed the oppressed and dismantled a cult that threatened the balance between the natural and the supernatural. Their path was clear. With new allies and a renewed sense of purpose, Lucas and Elara walked into the morning light, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead in their quest to protect the innocent and bring down those who thrived in the shadows of evil. Thank you for joining me on this chilling journey. If your thirst for the unknown and the unexplained is still unquenched, I invite you to delve deeper into the abyss of terror. Just beyond the veil of reality, another story awaits to send shivers down your spine. Dare to join me in the next video, where the unknown becomes known and the unseen seen. Until then, keep the lights dim and your mind open. This is Professor Shadow, signing off.